You probably think of your windowsill as a zone of absolute comfort, a cozy little green oasis where your ficus and cactus live in perfect harmony. But let's drop that illusion for a second. The truth is, every single pot in your apartment isn't just decor. It's a highly advanced, fully autonomous chemical weapons factory. Your plants are masters of hidden threats, shaped by millions of years of evolution with one single goal: to make sure absolutely nothing tries to eat them. Imagine living surrounded by creatures that, at the slightest breach of their personal space, are ready to drop the entire periodic table on your head. Take the Dieffenbachia, for example. It looks like a harmless office clerk, but hiding inside its leaves is a massive arsenal of microscopic calcium oxalate needles. If you accidentally bite a leaf, or even just wipe off the dust the wrong way, these tiny darts instantly embed themselves into your skin or mucous membranes, injecting a burning chemical cocktail. The effect is roughly like trying to use liquid pepper and broken glass as a mouthwash. It's no wonder this plant earned the nickname Dumb Cane. After tangling with it, you won't be able to speak for quite a while, and you definitely won't want to. And what about the lovely oleander? It looks like an Instagram model, ready to elevate any interior with its delicate flowers. But hiding behind that beauty is a cardiac glycoside called oleandrin. And once it gets inside your body, it acts faster than a Hollywood thriller. Even a couple of leaves accidentally mixed into your salad can throw your heart into such rhythmic chaos that the ER doctors will be talking about your case for weeks. It's a classic biological trap. You admire the plant while it patiently waits for you to make a fatal mistake. Even the familiar ficus, which most people consider the perfect roommate, has skeletons in its closet, or rather, in its sap. Circulating inside its stems is a latex compound capable of triggering a massive allergic reaction in anyone who simply decides to repot it without gloves. Your hands break out in itchy blisters, and suddenly it hits you. Nature didn't design these organisms to please your eye, but to systematically ruin the day of anyone who crosses their borders. So why do we keep these green saboteurs in our homes? Maybe it's our innate human desire to tame the untamable. We call it care, watering them on a schedule and wiping down their leaves, completely unaware that we aren't the masters of the house, but rather, they are the silent watchers ready for a chemical counterattack. And as you peacefully sip your morning coffee while staring at your windowsill, just remember that your ficus isn't just growing, it's carefully tracking your every move. And who knows what exactly is brewing in its chemistry if you suddenly decide to change its watering schedule to something a little more radical? Danger is always closer than it appears, and it absolutely loves sunlight. Have you ever wondered why your potted ficus doesn't just try to bite you, even though you're clearly invading its personal space every time you move it for better lighting? While we're busy matching the shade of our curtains to our sofa, plants are waging a quiet, ruthless chemical war. To them, the sun isn't just a source of a nice tan. It's a nuclear reactor that they've learned to convert into sophisticated biological weapons. Their entire defense system is built on an alchemy that turns photons into deadly organic compounds. Let's look at alkaloids. These are nitrogen-heavy compounds that, once inside an animal's body, unleash absolute chaos on the nervous system. Imagine deciding to snack on some aconite leaves, but instead of a meal, you get an instant system failure in your sodium channels. Your neurons simply stop transmitting signals, and your body literally forgets how to breathe. That's not just a minor inconvenience, it is a complete systemic crash of your critical hardware. The plant doesn't even break a sweat. It just makes its sap utterly inedible for anyone foolish enough to come after its chlorophyll. Botany's other ace in the hole is glycosides. These are sneaky little molecules stored inside the cell in a deactivated state, like biological ticking time bombs. The second a hungry squad of caterpillars bites into the leaf, an instant chemical reaction triggers. Enzymes mix with the substrate, releasing pure cyanide. It's exactly as if your sandwich suddenly turned into a gas chamber right inside your mouth. Evolution took a basic metabolic process and turned it into a way to tell the world, back off, unless you want to end your career in the food chain right here, right now. 95. Plants don't just stand there. They build invisible fortress walls out of molecular spikes all around themselves. While we argue over interior design, these green strategists are perfecting neurotoxin formulas that outclass anything cooked up in a modern military lab. They don't need teeth or claws when they can just turn carbon dioxide and water into a cocktail that will stop an attacker's heart. It is the ultimate form of selfishness, refined to absolute perfection. Next time you walk past some ordinary grass, just remember that you are surrounded by an army just waiting for the signal to turn your peaceful hike into a very short, incredibly unpleasant adventure. Nature is a brutal architect, and her blueprints are drawn in the venom hidden inside every harmless little petal. So it's probably best to just leave your ficus alone before it decides you've gotten a little too close to its secret laboratory. If you think the list of green hitmen ends with the Dieffenbachia, you are deeply mistaken. Let's add a couple more contenders for the title of your most treacherous roommate to that black. Meet the Euphorbia pulcherrima, better known as the point. During the holidays, this plant with its bright red bracts sits in almost every home, looking like a festive star. But hidden deep inside its stems is a thick, sticky, milky sap. Accidentally break the skin, and this white cocktail of euphorbins and triterpene alcohols instantly triggers dermatitis. And if it gets in your eyes, you're looking at a severe case of conjunctivitis. This plant is literally screaming with its colors, "Look, but do not touch," or a trip to the dermatologist will be your main present under the tree. And what about the Monstera, whose massive sliced leaves are the absolute obsession of modern interior designers? It feels like the ultimate symbol of tropical coziness, but hidden inside its tissues are the exact same microscopic rapphide needles you'll find in the The second your pet decides those giant green leaves look like a tasty snack, they are instantly guaranteed a swollen throat and severe esophageal spasms. Why is it that just one tiny slice of this decorative marvel can send you to the ER faster than the world's worst culinary experiment? It all comes down to concentration. In the wild, the plant hoards these compounds just to survive the brutal competition for light and nutrients. But locked inside your apartment, it simply has nowhere else to dump its chemical reserves. We can't forget about the Croton either. Its leaves are painted so vibrantly it looks like an abstract artist went entirely overboard with their palette. But hiding behind that splash of color is a sap that can trigger incredibly severe irritation to your mucous membranes. Mess around with it without wearing gloves, and you risk a chemical burn that takes weeks to heal. This isn't just a pretty little bush. It's a fully stocked chemical warehouse running on autopilot. You wonder why your windowsill feels like an obstacle course? It's because plants are absolute master manipulators. They trick us into caring for them, watering them, and feeding them, all while reserving their right to lethal self. We pay for this aesthetic with our peace of mind and constant caution. And every time you pick up your pruning shears to trim another harmless little shoot, remember this. You are making direct contact with an evolutionary weapon, perfected over millions of years to ensure no arrogant creature ever dares to take a bite. So, before you adopt your next green friend, you'd better read its dossier, otherwise your home might just turn into a battlefield where you have absolutely zero chance of winning the chemical warfare. To avoid turning your cozy apartment into a branch of a toxicology lab, you're going to have to switch into vigilant gardener mode. The first rule of survival in this floral paradise sounds like a cliché, but it saves lives. Keep your distance. If your leafy pet has juicy leaves or suspiciously bright sap, get into the habit of handling it strictly with gloves on. This isn't just being paranoid. It's how you avoid contact with alkaloids that can absorb through your pores faster than you can even realize your mistake. The second rule is strict quarantine. If you have kids or pets in the house, forget the trendy floor plant. Every toxic plant needs to be kept completely out of reach. Cats are curious creatures, and in the world of botanical chemistry, curiosity usually ends with a very expensive trip to the vet. Cut off access to the windowsills where your green strategists are stationed, and establish clear boundaries. The pot is their sovereign territory, and your dining table is a strict flora-free zone. The third piece of advice is all about maintenance. Don't go crazy trimming and repotting plants in a closed room with zero ventilation. When physically damaged, a lot of these species release microparticles of their sap into the air, which can easily irritate your respiratory tract. Handle your flowers with a window open, treating the process exactly like you're running a dangerous chemical synthesis inside a fume hood. And of course, always wash your hands after contact, even if you think you just nudged a stem back into place. Don't trust their innocent looks, because evolution never wastes energy building a defense mechanism just for the aesthetic. Finally, accept the hard truth. You are not the landlord in this botanical terrarium, you are just a tenant. True harmony with nature inside a city apartment isn't about dominance. It's about respectful coexistence with creatures whose weaponry has been perfected over millions of years. Once you understand the rules of their game, you stop being a potential Darwin Award winner and become a wise observer. So, is there a chance you can maintain this green oasis without getting hurt? 95. Absolutely. As long as you remember that behind the serene surface of those leaves lies the cold, hard calculation of survival. The plant world demands respect for its boundaries, and if you can accept that fact, your home will remain a safe haven, rather than a battlefield where watering your plants could become the final act in your own personal drama.